lot about how you all will actually be videotaping yourselves as the mentor. So you want to actually display those types of things. The first activity is actually you'll view the mentee's video, and then you'll identify their weaknesses. And then when you videotape yourselves, you will actually demonstrate addressing those weaknesses. So like if they didn't have proper questioning techniques, then when you videotape yourself, you'll be conscious. Let me show them how to do appropriate questioning. Set and maintain standards, and as well as provide resources. This is one of the things when I talk to my first year teachers, they spend all this time trying to find resources. They're out there if you have them. I know last year in this program, one of the mentors had my pre-service teacher. They actually sent me a CD with all these handouts that they had created, and I was able to give that to his mentee. So no need, he already had it, he taught Algebra 2, no need to go and make the mentee dig that up. And from a mentee's perspective, you want to observe these mentors' best practices. So if they've identified that this is one of your weaknesses, look and see that what they address and reflect on how you can address and adjust your skills for that. Mentors also serve as facilitators, so provide guidelines, and most importantly is to allow the mentee to develop their sense of self. They're not just a clone of you, they are actually you. And I can give you all these, this PowerPoint. I'll make sure you all get all of this. And from a mentee, you want to discuss reflections with mentors to clarify and develop professional progress. And take responsibility for your own learning. When we get the feedback, you'll see that taking responsibility thing will come up again. And then you want to set goals. So what is your goal for this experience? And actually work towards achieving that goal. Assessor is probably one of the biggest things you do as a mentor, because ultimately you're going to give some type of feedback on them. So you want to look and see what their video are, and then address specifically what you see. Provide feedback always with the thought of trying to make the mentee progress forward. And then provide instructional support, willing to coach mentee to improve skill level. Probably the research says one of the biggest things for being a mentor is actually the willingness to be a mentor, which seems kind of, you know, duh, but that's like the number one thing, is that you actually do want to help someone grow. And for mentee, again, when they give you the feedback, that basically is to use it. Collaborator, you want to talk. So I know that all the mentees, 3 of the mentees on the first row are my students, so they actually will be communicating virtually with their mentees using iPod Touch. And so you want to actually collaborate together, share and reflect with your mentees, give assistance, and more importantly today in this session we're going to have the mentees say what they think they need help on. So we know that most of all is of course on lesson plan, that's what this session talks about, but there's no need to just only discuss that. If you're having issues with, you know, how do I need to call a parent, how do I, you know, what am I going to say, that's what you need to do. And so today, hopefully when you talk to your mentee, you will actually see what their specific needs are. Some of them don't know, they need help with everything. And mentees share ideas through collaboration. The mentees are like the driver of the relationship. You all have to identify what you need help with and what you want assistance with. So really that's kind of a lot of the mentee's responsibility, is for you to say, well, what do I need, and be honest. One thing I like about this program is that, you know, you can be honest with your mentee. Communicator, share professional skills, provide feedback, that's again, and gets back to mentor in a timely manner. So this actually should have went over both for the mentee and the mentor. This is one of the things that we saw that we worked on. Part of it was last year again, you all don't know this, but the technology was in a lot of different areas. So like they blogged in one spot, then they uploaded videos in one spot, then they did surveys in another. So this year, it being all in one place, Blackboard, I think will be a lot more helpful. But mainly, mentees, express thanks. Your mentors, they're giving you appropriate feedback. Thank you, mentor, for that wise. And this is probably the one I think is most important, is a friend. Not saying, you have to hang out with the person or whatever, not that necessarily a friend. But friend in that, as a mentor, you want to encourage your mentee to try new challenges, take risks, provide advice about weaknesses, but in a constructive, caring manner. And so that's why the way you give feedback on this survey is going to be kind of important, to compare how you give feedback and how your mentee wants to receive feedback, to see what the differences are. Share professional knowledge and skills, and share your own struggles and frustrations. I always tell my students about things that I just don't care, it doesn't matter to me. But I'm always telling them, I tell them, this is a sidebar, I'm sorry, give me 5 seconds. My handwriting is horrible. And so I tell them all the time, I got a C in 5th grade handwriting and that did not make the honor roll. Clearly I'm still scarred. But the one time in my life I did make the honor. Okay, I digress. So share your own struggles and what issues you had trouble with and how you overcame them. I think that's one of the best things. And for mentees, trust your mentor, keep a schedule, appointment, and make sure you understand that this is a confidential relationship. And that goes both ways. If your mentor tells you something, it's not for you to then go and tell someone else, and vice versa. When you, as a mentee, tell your mentor stuff, you should be able to do that in the strictest of confidence. All right, so this is our first activity that we're going to do. The research suggests that first-year teachers go through 5 phases during their first year. Anticipation phase, so basically they're anticipating to be a teacher. Survival, they're just in survival mode. Disillusionment, that means, did I really choose the right profession? We'll go through each one of them in detail. Then rejuvenation and reflection. So write these 5 down right now. And then on the next slide, I will tell you what I want you to do. Everybody have them down? Anticipation. Are you a first year teacher or second year? Oh, good. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. All right, here we go. All right, so for the mentors, this is what I want you all to do. I want you to think back to your first year of teaching and think about remembering going through those phases. I wanted you to check off each phase you went through and think about the time frame. You may not have went through every phase most teachers do, but you don't necessarily have to. List each phase that you went through along with the timeline you spent on each phase. So we start school about August, we end in about June. So think, was I in this phase for, August through December or August through October, mid-October? And then also list at least one memorable thing. How do you know you were in that phase? What happened in that phase that happened? So that's for the mentors. You can start that now. For the mentees, think about which phases you've gone through. And if you haven't, think about how you think you might progress through those phases when you begin teaching. This is for some, we have some second year, but I think they're all in the other groups, so you can ignore the second part. So just chart out a time frame. How long do you think you will be in the anticipation phase? Again, make a little timeline. Starting in August, you go through June. So say August through this month, I think I'll be in this. All right, so list some things that happen. I'm going to ask the mentors to share some things that may have happened during some of those phases. But you know I was definitely in survival mode because I did this. I was in disillusion because I wrote up a termination.